Hello, my name is Jason Clarke, broker salesperson and property manager for Vegas One Realty. I want to give you a little bit of my background. I've been out in Vegas for about 20 years now, practicing real estate for the past 15 and doing property management for most of those years. Funny thing that I fell into property management, worked out here in the IT industry and back in Ohio, grew up in Cleveland and went to Kent State University, graduated with a business and IT degree back then. Worked for a good number of years, about a decade, back in Ohio for utility in the Cleveland area. It was a fun job, but it was kind of time to move on, pursue greener pastures. So it brought me out to Las Vegas. Moved out here in 2007, right around the time of the Great Recession. Uh, just a great time. So, worked out here in the IT industry, in the government sector, for a number of years. But things weren't just going right there. I wasn't very fulfilled with the job. Wasn't doing anything that was really going to improve my resume there. So I started thinking about, well, what am I going to do? What's going to be the next chapter? Because obviously this IT thing here isn't going anywhere. The economy's kind of dead. So, a buddy of mine who's now my broker, Tommy Lee, suggested I get my real estate license. So I did, and went ahead and get my license. I got my broker's license, and I also got this funny little thing called a property management permit. Didn't really think anything of it. I just said, you know what, I'm gonna put everything in my holster that I can and see what happens. Throw everything in the wall and see what sticks. So I did that. Just did some sales, early on, here and there, part time. The market was it was on the upswing. This is around 09, 010. So people were starting to buy. The market was getting better. But I wasn't ready to leave my IT job behind and make that commitment to real estate, and especially just sales. But when it came to be presented to me of doing property management, I said, this kind of makes sense to me. I can easily do my 9 to 5 and also manage a few properties here and there, month to month, and doing accounting and organizing work orders and stuff like that was really no big deal to me. I could pretty much do it on my off days or on a lunch, and it was no big deal. Go down the road a few years and you wind up managing about 60 or so properties. Then it becomes more of a juggling act. Still was not satisfied with the IT job. So, I got to the point where I had enough properties where I said, you know what, it's time to make the change. Time to leave the IT field behind, and pursue a full-time career in real estate, which was kind of scary, but I just, I was making about the same as I was my IT job with property management, and just saw that if I put more effort and time into real estate, I can make more, and that's always the end goal of everything, right? You want to be happy and fulfilled by your job, but you also comes down to income. So learned a lot over the past 10-15 years in managing properties, so I guess that's why I'm doing these videos. Just want to kind of share the knowledge out there, because I just search on YouTube, there's not a big wealth of knowledge of property management. You'll get your ads out there from the big companies, advertising their services and everything like that, but really not a video from a property manager and give him his, give you his experience, some of the pitfalls, some of the things to look out for, some of the things we do on a day-to-day basis, some of the crazy stories that you run into with property management. So I thought it'd be a good thing to start a little YouTube channel here and see what I come up with. So hope you enjoy the knowledge, hope you enjoy the stories, and hope you come back. But very nice to meet you either way.